Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France, and of course you good old boys in Africa. We love you, the Big C Tribe, even though I get a lot of hate mail from the Big C Tribe. Big C, we still love them. You know we love you up in Canada. I gotta say this because it's the end of 2017. Whoa, Canada! Oh man, I think I choked, Big C. I do want to say there's no one we love more than you good old boys down south, in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys?
Well, Charlton, I've been staggering around all day. I'm kind of lost. I was looking around for 2017, and it's disappeared somewhere.
Yeah. Well, today's a beautiful December 29th, 2017, in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Big C, so many things I'm grateful for. In fact, you know, we like to pay homage to some of our media brethren. I want to pay homage to one of the programs on Fox Sports 1. They're actually using the Earth, the globe that we have on the Big C Sports logo. I saw some good old boy out in space with the Big C Sport. He had his own logo, but it was on the Earth the same way that we've been doing ours for about 2 years. Hey, Big C, if you're not copycatting, you're not trying. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it's amazing that what the research staffers do on television for the two major television broadcast networks of sports is that they have so many staff members that they can search around with everybody, whether it's other radio stations or television stations, and try to make it like it's their originality. But, and realistically, they're plagiarized. I mean, we all take bits and pieces
it's all good
from what everybody does, because we're talking about the same industry. Sports is sports. We had a little more politics in it than everybody else, because people try to say, well, politics and sports don't match. If it didn't, we wouldn't have any stadiums that these teams play in, Charlton, because they get them through the politicians and tax money. There wouldn't be any 501c NFL, Charlton, because it's a tax-free business. That's part of the government, politics. So when they want to sit around and say politics and sports don't mix, Charlton, they got to look at the lobbyists who pay for their stations to get to where they are, in the industry. Working in D.C. So politics and sports are all synonymous with each other. Matter of fact, the president can't keep it out of his mouth.
He's always talking about something. See, it's funny how he helped bankrupt the USFL, and now people are buying his tax plan. I just think sometimes people don't read. Hey, I hope we all save money on taxes. I do want to say today's segment sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. Big C, #1, I'm so grateful to you. About 2 years ago, we were doing some work with Salem Media up here in Northern California, and you said we'll do our own show pretty soon, because you know how sometimes people behave, Big C, and it came to fruition. So #1, I appreciate you and being able to kind of sip on the moonshine of knowledge that you have, Big C. I think over the times that you say things and how they come true. I'm just grateful that you've told me about that $600 million worth of lottery games tonight, too, between the Powerball and Mega Millions. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, somebody's going to have to have this 2018, Charlton, eventually.
We'll take it.
Because they are going to pay off. I mean, they've increased the odds because they added the numbers to the system. I guess they thought it was paying off too much money. But, either way you look at it, the money will be the same when it's paid out. It'd be nice that it goes into somebody who'd be willing to give back to their alumni at the university and help their sports program somewhere.
Yeah, that's true, Big C. In the world of sports, we've seen so many changes, in the world of sports broadcast. Gone are the days. Just like I think they used to have what's called a party line when you have to call someone. They would actually have operators on a switchboard, and them girls were taking the time to switch in different party lines, and that's how people communicated. And then they came out with this thing called a telephone, and you can dial the number, that round one, and then they came out with the square telephone. You had to punch in those numbers. And now, Big C, everyone has a cell phone. How does that equate to Big C Sports? Computers have changed everything in the world of broadcast. We talked about that back in the days when Kurt Gowdy was doing his thing, when Keith Jackson was doing his broadcast thing. Even Irv Cross of the great CBS Sports. all them good old boys, they didn't have the access to the internet that we have today. And that's why we have a sports program that not only is it heard all over the world, it's heard all over the universe. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, we went from the analog age to the digital age to where we are now, Charlton. Everything is accessible. But, what it creates, Charlton, is opportunity for people to have different opinions.
Yeah.
To not be, pigeonholed and say only our opinion matters.
Yeah.
Is that, with the wealth of knowledge that the average citizen has now, Charlton, is that they can decipher what's true and what's not true and what they feel that they want to feel and get out of a broadcast via radio or television. And you have to understand, Charlton, 97% of America has a radio.
Yeah.
And the majority of the world has a radio. So when people talk about broadcast in television, you got to be able to carry a television with you to see majority of these broadcasts. I know they have streaming scenarios now, but it's hard to stream while you're in the car and you're running down the freeway at 95 miles an hour. And sitting there keeping an eye on a little 5-inch screen sitting on your dash versus, having that stereo blaring in the car and hearing everything.
Yeah, that's so like
what we offer as far as getting into someone's mind, ears, and life, Charlton, through radio, not just us, but all the brethren out there who broadcast in radio. And that's why so many people on television now have podcasts.
Yeah.
Because they know that podcast reaches more people than what their television sit-down does.
Yeah. Well, Big C, you're the one who told me that podcast is the wave of the future. And it's funny, you told me this about 2 years ago. You also predicted that a lot of the people we see on TV, what you call the talking heads, they wouldn't be there at the end of 2017 and some of them weren't even there at the end of 2016 when we started doing Big C Sports. Not that that's a bad thing. Sometimes in competition, the cream rises to the top. You got to go out and control your own thing. At least try to do what you love. And when you do what you love, then the money will follow. Big C, I want to bring something up that I think it's a message that I want to send out, to the universe and the listeners, not just in sports, but in business. I hope that every young kid, and Big C, you talk about this as much as anybody, don't just go to school to play sports. Don't be the next big knucklehead that can bench press 300 pounds and run the 40 and 4.4 and lift, all the things they tell you to do to get bigger, stronger, and faster. Open the page of the book. It's a lot lighter than the barbells, okay? But if you can read and you can see what's going on in the future, you'll understand that not only will you write Big C podcast all the way to the future, because it connects the whole world. Just like the NCAA lost its suit with the Supreme Court to monopolize TV, now everyone has their own TV network. Well, anyone can go out and do it if you have the talent. Big C, just tell me how important that is that you leave that message to kids when they're leaving college, whether they get a pro contract or not. Go out and get something that they can count on, Big C. Your thoughts?
Every contract you have is a pro contract, whether you're working at a desk or behind the wheel of a vehicle. It's a pro contract. You have to make sure that whatever you invest in mentally and emotionally, that's what your heartfelt desires are.
Yep.
Because, when you look around, Charlton, and you look at professional sports world, we don't have 3,000 NFL players in America. Think about it. We don't have 3,000 NFL players in America. When you think about the NBA, there are not 500 professional basketball players in America.
Wow.
Okay? And when you look at Major League Baseball, there's some 1,200 professional baseball players.
Wow.
So when you want to be realistic about your opportunity to earn a living in a profession, you can't sit there and say, well, I'm going to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
We have 125 Division I colleges in America, Charlton.
Yeah.
And we don't have 500 NBA players. We have 125 Division I colleges that play football, Charlton.
Yeah.
And we don't have 3,000 NBA players. So when you start looking at the amount of players that are on the rosters, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, Charlton, tennis, any of these golf teams, there are not enough professional positions to house these people.
Yeah.
They're going to make a living for 5 and 10 years down the road in that business because if you're a professional athlete and you look at training camp, or you're just a college athlete, you look at training camp, there are more people to get released from teams from the start of training camp to the start of their regular season than there are players that make the team.
Yeah.
So you have to look realistically at the odds of being able. The team, so we're getting ready to go to the end of the season.
Yeah.
You go into training camp. You got all these mini camps before you even get to training camp. they cut players in minicamp, Jonathan.
Yep.
Each team has 3 minicamps prior to going to training camp.
Yeah.
They cut players at that time, so they never even really get a chance to put on pads because these minicamps are non-contact.
Yeah.
And so when you get cut in this minicamp and you're sitting there, well, I'm waiting on somebody to pick me up, you got to realize that other 31 teams were holding minicamps and cutting players also.
Yeah.
So, it would be nice that all the universities were forced to have in the curriculum life after college football. Not thinking pro, but life after college sports, period.
Yeah.
So you can have players prepared for crucial adjustment.
Yep.
When their cheering stops.
Yeah.
That's more than anything else because you see frustrated athletes out there, and that's.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of that going on, Big C, and we're going to make sure that everybody understands. Have something that you can tuck away and use for a rainy day. Just bringing up some of the great players and some of the things we're thinking about that may happen in 2018, and we'll touch on some college football and some NFL later in the program. What will 2018 bring? Is LeBron James going to join another team other than Cleveland? You look at Dan Gilbert, and if you think about that, Dan Gilbert's the owner of that franchise over in Cleveland. There's so many things that you can do as you get to the end of your career. You want to play for a winner. And we saw how the Cavs lost to Golden State on the road without Steph Curry, okay? The game after that, they followed up with a loss over in Sacramento with the Sacramento Kings. So is that writing on the wall for LeBron? Do you think he wants to go through what they call a rebuilding in Cleveland, Big C? Or will he actually do what other athletes do, kind of find greener pastures, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, really, where are there greener pastures in the NBA? Wherever you go, it's a rebuilding process.
Yeah.
Unless you walk in on a pat hand like Kevin Durant did at Golden State last year.
Yeah.
Even when LeBron James went to Miami, that was a rebuilding process because it took 2 years for that team to come together and win a championship. They didn't win right off the bat, Charlton. He said he promised them 7 championships. He only got 2 out of that relationship down there.
Yeah.
Building.
Yeah.
There's no consistent dynasty. Even though Golden State has won 2 of the last 3 championships, that's not a dynasty.
Yeah.
When you go around and you look in the last 30 years of the NBA and see how many teams won 2 titles, 2 out of 3, 2 out of 4 that won them, Charlton. So there's no dynasty out there because athleticism now is equal across the slate.
Yep.
Put together a team that's going to be competitive all the time. But as having a dynasty, just keep coming along daily.
That's true, too. We're also having a little bit of static with our microphone. We'll try to work that out for you also heading into the new year. Big C, the talk of the Lakers, and when you bring up, LeBron James, wherever he goes, they're going to have to rebuild. They had a lot of talk about Lonzo Ball. Will he get free of his dad's grip? I think that's going to happen as he starts to grow into his own, and maybe Magic Johnson steps in. And so that thing with the Lakers, and I look at how the Lakers they seem like they're primed for growth over the next 2 years. Also, I look at a team like the Sacramento Kings. They remind me of the Maloofs when they had the Kings back in the mid-2000s. They had Vlade Divac, they had Chris Webber, they had Mike Bibby, they had Bobby Jackson. They had some good players that could run up and down the court. They have De'Aaron Fox here in town. I like the way they played Vince Carter in their win over Cleveland. They're mixing the young with the old, so that's an up-and-coming team. But let me get your thoughts, Big C. I know people talk about Philadelphia and Joel Embiid, and they got beat last night by Portland. What's a young team that might be 2 years away that you have your eye on, Big C, for the next 2 years? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, everybody's 2 years away in the NBA. Right? I mean, you look at the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
They have a young plethora of players, as well as Philadelphia does. But across the state, I mean, look at Boston. Boston is a team built for now and in the future.
Yeah.
So there are teams that are there. I know you mentioned the Lakers and the Ball kid. Ball is only maybe the 4th best player on that team because Kuzma is much better than he is, and he's a true rookie.
Yeah.
But Ball gets all the notoriety, and you want to have marqueeism as far as throwing the attention after a certain player. But Charlton, after a while, even the luster will wear off. I mean, you look at Houston. Houston is built for now and the future, even though they've imploded the last 3 games and they've struggled, after having that great win streak.
Yeah.
But the NBA is a today league. No one builds for the future in the NBA because if you're building for the future, that means you're not playing for now. And if you're not playing for now, you're not going to have any success.
Yeah.
We look because of the face of basketball Everyone wants to say that basketball is a new popularity in American sports. It's not. It will never take over from the NFL because when you look at the NBA championship games, Charlton, last year between Cleveland and Golden State, the two highest rating games only received 12.5 and 13 million viewers. Okay?
Wow.
That's an average NFL game. Not even an average NFL. That's a Cleveland Brown NFL game. 13 million viewers, okay?
Yeah, that's true.
So when you think about that the NBA is going to take over from the NFL, it is not.
Yeah.
The only thing it has, Charlton, is its social media page because the faces are so recognizable. They can become household images where in football you recognize jerseys. In the NBA you recognize numbers. That's the reason, faces. That's the reason why you see so many NBA players on commercials and you don't see football players because they're recognized through their number and their jersey and not by their face.
Yeah, that's true, Big C. That's a very good point. You can actually feel like you know people. I think it's poignant when some of the players will do a commercial and they actually wear their jersey as if they're basketball or football players, as if we don't know who they are otherwise, Big C. I want to touch on, one of the other sports that we've covered. We cover everything, but this thing with Tiger Woods coming back, and I like the world of golf, but it's always better when Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson are playing at the top of their level. Your thoughts on Tiger, if he can get through with his surgery, being successful this time, and not try to force himself? I think I can see Tiger Woods winning another major in 2018, Big C. That's not too much to ask for when the guy who has his pedigree, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Tiger's biggest adversary has been his ego, Charlton, and coming back trying to do things that he could no longer do.
Yeah.
If he just comes out and let the game of golf come to him, and everybody who's gone out with that sticks out there on the links understand letting the game of golf come to you.
Yeah.
When you can't hit a fade, don't worry about it. Put it out there and get that second shot down the fairway, all right?
Yeah.
Tiger tries to overcompensate a lot of times because of what he used to do a decade ago. And these are one of the things that leaves every great athlete, Charlton, is the ability to push whatever you were 10 years ago today.
Yeah.
And so Tiger has to understand that the game has changed as far as the realm that he's in. He's no longer going to go out there and drive the ball consistently 350 yards. Be happy with that 300-yard drive.
Yeah.
Take out that 4-iron and get it up on the green where you need to be after that point. But Tiger has made the game of golf Americanized, where Americans want to be a part of it more than anybody in the past. Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Lee Trevino. These gentlemen really set the page for golf.
Yeah.
But Tiger Woods opened up the book of golf for America.
Yeah.
Because you can embrace him. He had that personality that said, I am Tiger. You think about the apparel that he drove for Nike alone.
Oh, my goodness.
What was Tiger going to wear on Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yeah.
You knew he was going to wear it on Sunday.
Yeah.
But, people were going out buying Tiger's colored shirts because he wore them. Not because of another golfer, but because of Tiger.
Yeah.
But he made this game just like when you look at the Williams sisters in golf. Tennis.
Tennis, yeah.
When Serena went down with her pregnancy, people forgot about tennis.
Yeah.
There was no American icon, even though her sister and Sloane Stephens were playing, Charlton.
Yep.
Serena Williams wasn't in the game, and so tennis took a back seat. Now she's back after giving birth to her first child, so this could be a illustrious 2018, not just in golf in America, but tennis once again, Charlton.
Big C, let me ask you your thoughts on the sports world. We cover everything. I look at boxing, and I look at MMA, how they collided back around August the 26th down in Las Vegas when we had the great, Conor McGregor versus Floyd Money Mayweather going to 50-0, and no one's done it better than the great Money Mayweather. The guy supposedly has made over $1 billion, $1 billion with a B in his career, and he's still a young man. And we saw what happened in the world of MMA, where the careers won't last as long. No one's going to go 50-0 in the world of MMA. To even get someone 20-0 is almost impossible. And McGregor had like 21 wins and 3 losses going into that fight. But tell me, what are your thoughts on how boxing and MMA galvanized the boxing world, the fight world? Do you think we have that happening again? I know Ali did it back in the day when he had a match with, I guess, a Lyle Alzado, but that was more of an amateur thing. Where do you see the role of boxing and MMA and its popularity going forward, Big C? Your thoughts?
We're talking over two separate areas. That's like having a cat-dog scenario, all right?
I got one of those.
You love one and you hate the other, all right?
Okay.
That's where it is right now. Right now, MMA is the dog of sport.
Yeah.
You know, and the cat has become boxing. You know,
Yep.
that sleepy holler that wants to lay down half the time over there.
Yeah.
Because that dog is always running up and down the fence, chasing whatever goes along. And that's MMA.
Yeah.
It's instant excitement, Charlton. And that's, America wants instant gratitude now, regardless of where we are, whether it's driving through a fast food window, you know, whether it's popping something in the microwave.
Yeah.
But in a sporting event, we want to see instant gratification.
Yeah.
We want to see high scoring.
Yeah.
And that's what you get with the MMA. You get a high-impact sport where there's constant action. And that's why America has been galvanized and driven through the drones getting there, Charlton.
Yeah.
Because you don't sit down and say, well, you know, we're in round 3 and nothing has happened yet. You're in round 3. Half the time it's over in MMA.
Yeah,
That's what America wants, is that Dana White has delivered on touching that American nerve that we are so galvanized by as the euphoria. And that's what the MMA is, whether it's the women fighting, whether it's the men fighting. You sit on the edge of your seat because you don't lean back. Well, I got to go take a bathroom break. If you do that break, the fight's over. What happened?
You know what? Dana White has touched on the same thing you touched on, Big C. There's a lot of sports shows out there, and they'll run a 3-hour sports show of just talking. Who can even listen for 3 hours to the same guy or the same two people going over and over and over again, sitting down, reading the teleprompter, etc.? And again, we do Big C Sports freestyle, no teleprompter, no producer. You know, that's good or bad. If people can like what they like, but we're like a concert that's not lip sync. We do it live. Big C, what is you talking about?
You don't act like Mariah Carey?
Well, no. Hey, I love Mariah Carey. In fact, I have a tribute. That's why I went to her at a Mariah Carey concert, Big C.
We got to make sure we got the track right that's playing in the background so, you know, when we lip sync and no one realizes what we're doing.
It all sounds the same, Big C. You can do like 10 or 15 times and you got the Mariah Carey's concert. But I got your thought on, you said Dana White touched on something. What made Mike Tyson so popular back in the day is he would knock guys out in the first or third round. If you could get him past 5 rounds like Buster Douglas did and the way Holyfield did, then Mike Tyson was in trouble. So he was throwing all guns to get you out of there in the first 3 or 4 rounds. Do you think Dana White capitalized on that the same way we don't do a 3-hour sports show? We keep it about an hour. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he went back to what other fighters have done in the past. Tommy Hitman Hearns was that same type of fighter where he came out and he wanted to put you down.
Yeah.
George Foreman in his heyday as a heavyweight champ, Ali, manipulated him when he said, George Foreman, it's been a long time since he hit round 5, round 7, round 11.
Yeah.
George had never seen 11 rounds in his early boxing career.
Yeah.
He had never. The longest he'd ever been was 10, and he had to be pushed out for that. So Ali knew of his weakness. Mike Tyson understood. Mike Tyson fought so fiercely, Charlton, that he instilled fear in his opponents.
Yeah.
And so they were nervous. It wasn't Mike being so savage. It was that they were worried where they're going to get to round 3.
Yeah.
And so that anxiety that they possessed allowed Mike to get to them.
Yeah.
And so it was as much of a psychological challenge with Mike as it was the power of his fist.
Yeah.
And when you're pushing both of those together, and especially any sports competitor, when you walk out there and you got some butterflies and some uneasiness about it, you know you're going to lose. And so that's what that was. And so when we look at Dana White, that he's put this sport together that you can use every apparatus of your body technically to fight somebody with.
Yeah.
We won't say extremities, we say every apparatus, because you use them all.
Yeah.
And so, and America sees this. I mean, you think about kids growing up.
Yeah.
Majority of American young males have been in some type of scrap, whether it was with your brother or a neighbor or some kid that you dislike.
Yeah.
Everyone. So they can all identify with the MMA to say, I can put myself in that picture, even though I'm not going to walk through the octagon cage. They can see themselves in this. They knew somebody who fought somebody, and it brought out that euphoria in them, Charlton.
Yeah. I said, I've been inside the octagon many times, not as a fighter, but just as an announcer, and I'm scared just stepping into it. Some of those guys are on a different breed of cat. I think back to the days you brought up a memory, Richard Pryor, the late Richard Pryor. how funny he was. And I remember he had this skit where he was fighting some guy and he wasn't done, and someone called the police and he told the guys, leave the man alone. I'm not done with him yet. They see some of the great things that Richard Pryor comes up with. Would you think Richard Pryor would have loved watching the MMA fighting? Things in your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I go back to all the great boxing aficionados who understood the art of boxing.
Yeah.
And to see where the MMA is as far as the high intensity of the sport. You have to appreciate it just based on the intensity of the sport. I mean, it's savagery at its greatest.
Yep.
But the intensity of the sport, to go out there and see barbaric actions in the ring, and to see that it's also sanctioned.
Yeah.
That as much violence as they inflict on their opponent, they also worry about the safety of these boxers.
Yeah.
And, we won't know for decades, what the total impact of this will be.
Yeah.
But, it's what America wants.
Yeah.
I mean, we want sensationalism. There's nothing in America that's not sensational. I mean, we look at politics. Politics is all about sensationalism.
Yep.
We got a president that can't shut his mouth. It's almost like he got diarrhea of the jaw. Every time he turns around, if he's not saying something that's a lie, he's tweeting something else out.
Yeah,
okay?
that's
so
funny.
both of these things are going on. I mean, when we look at the Republican Party,
Yep.
that walks around with a bunch of skirts on right now because they're scared.
Yeah.
Because they're embarrassed about their own actions.
Yeah. That's
and they
true.
say, well, the Democrats won't work across the aisle. They won't give us bipartisan. Anybody who understands politics, Charlton, is like sports.
Yep.
The Republicans don't need bipartisanism.
No.
All they have to do is go in and vote a bill through. They don't need a Democrat because no Democrat has to vote on anything for the Republicans to pass it.
Yeah.
That's how much they lie to America and say, well, they're working against us. How can somebody work against you and they're a minority and they don't have enough votes to stop you? Anything that wants to be voted on.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Big C. And I think about that when you bring that up. And I think about the NFL, who I want to call the NFL Man of the Year, even though he couldn't find a job. I look at what Kaepernick did 2 years ago, the stance that he took for justice reform, and people made it about the troops, and that was never the truth. It was always about justice reform. There's actually some bills in law right now that they're looking to get passed, so hopefully the president will sign that to make justice fair for everybody, and that's what Kaepernick was all about. But Big C, before we touch on a little bit of the world of college football, I want to just think back to the Major League Baseball and the World Series at Game 7 at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Chavez Ravine with everything on the line, and the young and upcoming crew from the Houston Astros were able to come to California, take on the powerful Dodgers in their own backyard, and take a World Series championship back to Houston after they had just been devastated by the floods down south. Big C, your thoughts on what that meant to the great state of Texas?
Well, Charlton, it's meaningful for whatever community you're in. But when you have a community that's gone through what they've gone through, it reminded me of New Orleans when the Saints won the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
After that devastation of Hurricane Katrina down there, Charlton, would just level a city that still has not recovered.
Yep.
And the same thing we have in Houston. That city is still a long way from recovery, Charlton, as well as the other landscapes across America and Puerto Rico.
Yep.
And the Virgin Islands that will never come back to where they once were with the luster that they had. But to have something that you can lean on as a city that can galvanize everybody regardless of culture.
Yeah.
You're an Astros fan, Charlton, and that's what the city of Houston received. It was like last year when the Cubs won the World Series. That, these fans have gone 100 years, Charlton, without ever lifting or wearing a World Series ring or just dreaming about it. Then all of a sudden it comes to realization. And here's the Astros, first time in their 50-plus year history, that the second time they've been in the World Series, but the first time they're able to hoist that championship trophy, Charlton, after the devastation that had gone through that region, and they're still suffering from it.
Yeah.
But they had something to praise themselves about, Charlton, is that they were World Series champs, that they were the best team in professional baseball.
Yeah, and I'm proud of them for doing that. That's a young team, and I know the Dodgers, they'll be back. The Yankees are looking strong. A lot of good teams lined up for baseball. And Big C, I know tonight we're going to have some college football to talk about, but I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. And for every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports, whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer league. When you're looking for sports insurance, reach out to them and let them know that Big C sent you. You can call 800-772 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. Big C, we'll just run a couple of games for college football tonight. I know we've had some big performances already today with Texas A&M playing Wake Forest. And that's a lot of points were scored in that game, 55-52. I think over 900 yards in passing in one game. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, this was an electrifying game, Charlton, for fans. And the sad part about a game like that is that you put it on in the middle of the day. It was played back in Carolina, in the Queen City.
Yeah.
But, you know, an offensive outburst like that, Charlton, 55-52, both quarterbacks combining for 900 yards, each scoring for 4 touchdowns, Charlton, in a season-ending game. And this is the team that Jimbo Fisher is going to inherit. We see that Texas A&M can score some points. Yeah, but, you know, can they play defense, which they were exported today?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's going to be a challenge. But this is one of those games, Charlton, we'll get some nags that play in the evening time.
Yep.
But this is a game that the fans were robbed of not having a chance to see it in prime time.
Yeah, that's a true point, Big C. Also, a couple of big games that we'll be looking at. You know, not only tonight, it starts down in Arlington, Texas, the Cotton Bowl. On ABC and ESPN at 8:30 kickoff. USC 11-2 on the season versus Ohio State 11-2 on the season. We've talked about it a lot, Big C. The history of these two programs. Will Sam Darnold go out to the NFL? And you also look at Barrett. Will he become the all-time yardage leader for Ohio State Buckeyes? Big C, your thoughts on that game?
Well, Charlton, this is the 10th matchup in a bowl game between these two teams.
Yep.
The last time they met was 1985 in the Rose Bowl. But, you know, this is a monumental game playing in Texas. You know, you think about J.T. Barrett. He has 37 victories, all-time winningest quarterback in Buckeye history. And you think about the long, illustrious history of that program, Charlton, to have him number one on top of that heap. Everyone talked about Sam Darnold being the top quarterback coming out of college this year, Charlton, possibly being the first overall pick in the NFL. You know, there's still a lot of question marks about him, Charlton. You know, he threw 12 interceptions this past season and didn't have a touchdown-interception ratio that everyone thought he would. Everyone praises about his arm, but, you know, you think about how many great arms that we've seen come out of that Pac-12 conference, and that's all it's been is great arms that haven't developed on the NFL level. The last quarterback to come out of USC with all that play is Matt Leinart. He's in the broadcast booth now. So, you know, there's no guarantee because the guys on television are saying that he's the best guy out there, your neighbor Mel Kiper. You know, he's the number one on the big board. He might be number one on the big board, but there's some big boys that play in the NFL, and they play for real. And so when you can't exploit college talent all the time, you play pro talent every week, Charlton. All 32 teams in the NFL are full of pro players, even the Cleveland Browns. And so they got pro players on their team, too.
Somebody forgot to tell them. Somebody forgot to tell them.
It's not as easy as people think. But, you know, I'm looking forward to a great game. I mean, SC doesn't like to go down to Texas and play. You know, they might be having a little hangover. You know, I'm not sure for what. But, you know, last time they were down there, Charlton, they didn't look too well.
They got the memo about the Alabama game. Bring your own Gatorade. Sometimes that Southern hospitality is known as Southern hostility when they bring their own. They brought their own Gatorade. Bring your own this time, USC. And then also, Big C, the Big Four games, you know, over the weekend. We'll touch on that briefly with Oklahoma and Georgia. Both teams are 12-1. That game's going to be on ESPN on Monday, New Year's Day, in Pasadena for the Rose Bowl. And I'm going to get your quick thoughts on that matchup, and then we'll swing over to the Sugar Bowl, where you're going to be covering down south, watching Alabama take on Clemson. Just your quick thoughts on Oklahoma and Georgia. Both teams are really rolling lately, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, two fine teams going into this game, Charlton, but the biggest problem is for Oklahoma is that of the 4 teams in the playoffs, they give up the most yards per rush. Just under 5 yards per rush. And when you look at Nick Chubb and Sonny Michel for Georgia, they're number 2 all-time as a tandem. As far as running backs in college with close to 7,500 yards between them throughout their career. So it's going to be a real challenge for that defense. Now, Baker Mayfield, I don't know if he's faced as much overall team defensive speed as Georgia will bring to him, Charlton. They're going to bring a lot of different looks. You got to realize Kirby Smart, the head coach of Georgia, was the defensive coordinator at Alabama for half a decade under Nick Saban. So he knows how to prep a team defensively. Now, he's normally only get 5 days to prep.
Yeah.
He's had a month.
Yeah.
So Baker Mayfield will see some things that he has not been used to seeing, and will he have hangover, Charlton, from this Heisman rodeo that he's been on?
Yeah, that's true, Big C. A lot of things got to stay focused. And Big C, we know we also have Wisconsin playing Miami. Wisconsin 12-1, Miami 10-2, and that's in the Orange Bowl. And not as popular as it used to be. Not just because the Orange Bowl is played up in Fort Lauderdale now. They had more environment and chemistry when they actually played it in the real Orange Bowl downtown Miami, but that's been torn down. Also, another game of interest that's going to be happening Saturday would be, you look at Washington 10-2 versus Penn State. Also 10-2, you'll see a passing game versus a running game, and those two teams. But then I want to just finish with the game that I think of course you're going to be down there, but I want to get your thoughts on. And briefly, the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, New Year's Day, 8:45 kickoff on ESPN. Clemson 12-1 versus Alabama 11-1. And I know the point spread, think about it, the point spread's gone up to 3. Just earlier in the week, it was 2.5. Alabama with the favorite. Now they've gotten a 3-point favorite. But, both teams are talented. I just want to get your thoughts on the feeling down south. You're down there around all that moonshine and them good old boys. Big C, your thoughts.
Well, Dalton, this was a game last year when Clemson took it to Alabama. They stayed on the field for 99 offensive plays, something Alabama's defense had been taken into no man's land. You know, we talked about George Foreman earlier, not seeing late rounds in the fight as well as Mike Tyson. That's what Alabama's defense wasn't used to playing 100 plays, where they were normally in the 60, 62-play range. A game, but Clemson took them into no man's land. And you think about what Kelly Bryant has done at quarterback for Clemson this year, Charlton. He's done things better than what Deshaun Watson. He may be even a better runner than what Deshaun Watson was. The arm may not be there, but that defensive line that Clemson possesses, everybody's always touted Alabama's, but Clemson has the better defensive line of it too. Jalen Hurts has the experience at Alabama for quarterback. They have a tremendous receiving corps. But can that offensive line for Alabama hold up under that fierce pass rush that Clemson is going to bring all night long?
And that's a good point, Big C. The second half of our program, talking pro football, as we go north across the border to, Canada, our home and native land. You can't say I didn't hit a home run on that one, Big C. But also, speaking of home runs, Johnny Manziel, a lot of hype in Johnny Manziel. I know he won a Heisman Trophy. He signed in the CFL with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. If they don't give him a contract, then they have to release him. So he's cleared his all domestic violence issues that he was charged with, and those were dismissed. Your thoughts on Manziel and his open air style and his running style being successful up in the CFL, Big C? Your thoughts?
You hear Johnny who?
Johnny.
That's as much as Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel, Charlton, flamed out a couple of years ago. Other than a name, he has never developed beyond that sophomore year at Texas A&M. It's all been in his head, and he hasn't delivered on the field. I don't know if he has the muscle to come up. We saw when Vince Young went to Canada last year. He didn't make it. Another, state of Texas product. I don't see where Johnny Manziel will fare any better, Charlton. He doesn't have the great arm strength. We never saw that from him in the NFL. So in the Canadian field, I believe, is a little wider. So I don't see where he's going to, really go up there and light the world on fire.
That's a good point. Big C, as we swing it into the NFL, kind of our 2-minute rundown of a couple of teams here. The Bears 5-10 at the Vikings 12-3. Sunday 1 o'clock on Fox Sports. And Kevin Burkhardt, Charles Davis, and Pam Oliver have the play-by-play. The Vikings would really like to pay homage to the Purple People Eaters and try to get back to another Super Bowl. Your thoughts on their chances? They look really good on defense.
You said the Bears will be 5-11 after the game on Sunday against the Vikings. I mean,
that's that psychic power.
His team is already NFL comeback player of the year, and in the hunt for the MVP, award. But this Viking defense is just a violent force, Charlton, and they're going to get after the Bears. Trubisky, he's going to feel pressure all day long, Charlton. They're going to be relentless because they want to make sure they have momentum, not like the Dallas Cowboys last year, Charlton, going into the playoffs.
That's a good point, Big C. The Jets 5-10 going into the Patriots at 12-3 and looking for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Sunday 1 o'clock kickoff on CBS Sports. The great Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson, and I love everyone who can make it in the business. But I hope that someone tells Tony Romo, let the play happen before you tell us what's going to happen. That make any sense, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, the biggest thing for the Jets going into this game, Charlton, is that Todd Bowles got a vote of confidence as the head coach. He got a contract extension as well as the GM.
Yeah.
The Jets, went into the season by all your media partners out there saying that they were going to tank for the #1 overall draft pick, Charlton. Right. Todd Bowles worked miracles with this team this year. Running through quarterbacks and a lot of injured players. I like what he did. They were robbed in the last game that they played against the Patriots, but I think the Patriots have a little too much, Charlton, and they just brought in James Harrison from the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's 39 years old, knowing that this is his last opportunity to get another Super Bowl ring, Charlton.
Yeah.
I think he will be the spearhead for that Patriots defense from this point on.
Yeah, that's a good point, Big C. The Redskins 7-8 at the New York Giants, 2-13 of all the hoopla coming into the season. 2-13 doesn't cut it in New York in the Big Apple. TV is Sunday, 1 o'clock. Fox Sports, Sam Rosen, Matt Millen, and Jennifer Hale with the play-by-play. Will this be the last game for Eli Manning playing for the New York Giants? Big C, your thoughts?
Charlton, this is a very interesting scenario for the Giants. They just signed a new GM today, former GM of the Panthers, who had been with the Giant organization for 8 years prior to going over to the Panthers. But if they're looking to rebuild this organization, Charlton, you got to look at this situation just like when they had Kurt Warner and they drafted Eli Manning.
Yep.
Kurt Warner had been a quarterback that had been to the Super Bowl, but they drafted Eli Manning. And now this is the same scenario that you're looking at. Do you want to keep Eli Manning around and draft a young quarterback? And Eli Manning does not want to play mentor to a young quarterback, knowing that it's going to be snatched from under him by the halfway point in the season. You have to get rid of Eli. You know you're not going to win the game. Just let him go gracefully. Let him move on to another organization that wants him.
Big C, very good point. It's hard telling the new guy what your ex-girlfriend likes. Most guys just don't have the stomach to do it. I know some guys do, but most guys are not going to tell them how to succeed and replace what they love so dearly. The Cowboys, 8-7 on the season. Last year's NFL darlings. At the Eagles, 13-2. This year's NFL darlings. That's a NFC East matchup. Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff on Fox Sports. Kenny Albert, Rondé Barber, Christina Pink with the play-by-play. Does Foles have what it takes to get the Eagles to the promised land? I think Prescott for the Cowboys is a much better quarterback. Ezekiel Elliott's a great running back, and then you have Jay Ajayi for the Eagles. But it looks like, just looking at paper, that the Cowboys will be the ones playing for the playoff run. Big C, your thoughts on this big NFC East matchup?
Well, Charlton, I like Foles because of his experience. Dallas, too many mistakes made on that road to get to this point of the season. Philadelphia did everything right early within the year, and even as the year has gone on, when they lost, the quarterback, Wentz, Foles was able to come in and keep the stride going with the team. That's the key, is that they didn't lose momentum when they lost their quarterback, Wentz. The Cowboys, were the team in disarray. I mean, this is a team that the owner spends too much time trying to beat everybody. He wants to play offense, defense. He wants to be the kicker also.
And litigate.
So until Jerry Jones backs away, then we understand, Jerry, you got all the money in the world. Can you make me a loan, please?
Yeah.
Let the players play. Let the coaches coach. Stop holding press conferences as an owner. If you've got a head coach, let him hold a press conference.
Yeah.
Don't you sit there and talk about what the roster.
That's so funny.
And leave Goodell alone. You're messing up his golf game. He probably lost 2 or 3 strokes in his golf game.
Yeah, that is true. You don't want to be talking about suing the guy who's helping you make multiple millions of dollars. Big C, I have the Browns at 0-6. I almost said 0-16. I almost pulled Tony Romo, Big C. I'm sorry. Right now, they're 0-15. And they're at the Steelers 12-3. The Steelers want so much to get to that AFC Championship game and try to avenge their loss against New England, because I think that's who people want to see. That game is Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff on CBS Sports. Spiro Davis, Adam Archuleta have the play-by-play. The Steelers, whether they're not going to get the home field advantage, do they rest players and give the Browns a chance to get that first win, or do they keep the momentum going forward into the playoffs? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, we've seen in past years when teams slow down and rest players, they're never able to pick that momentum up.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin is a tremendous coach, Charlton, and he doesn't like distractions within his team. And if you're a distraction, you're gone. Look at James Harrison.
Yeah.
He let him go, and he signed with the Patriots. You look at what happened with the receiver, Bryant, earlier in the season when he became a distraction.
Yeah.
He put him on the practice roster. He does not want players taking time off and being a distraction, Charlton. If you're healthy, you're going to play, you're going to have the momentum. Ben Roethlisberger's lost one game in Cleveland in his entire career, Charlton.
Wow.
He's not looking to do it again.
No, he's not going to do that again, Big C. The Packers 7-8 at the Lions 8-7, and that game is Sunday, 1 o'clock on the Fox Sports. Now, you think about it, the Packers were always a playoff team. We know Aaron Rodgers has to heal from that injury, and then Matthew Stafford had the hand injury. Just your thoughts on this great rivalry in their same division, the Packers and the Lions, to close out the season for both teams. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is only the second time since Aaron Rodgers has been a starter that the Packers have missed the playoffs. The first one was the first year he took over for Brett Favre, and now this is the second one, and that's because of an injury.
Yeah.
But, this is a team that you got players playing for, jobs next year, especially Huntley, the backup quarterback in Green Bay.
Yeah.
This has been his audition ever since Rodgers has been down. Can he play at that level? I know he came out of UCLA. He was highly touted. But he's had an opportunity, and it shows how difficult it is to play in the NFL when people want to berate quarterbacks. Your backup quarterback is never the best quarterback on your team.
Yeah.
And that's why you cherish your starters so much in this league. But, Detroit Stafford has never gotten to that pinnacle that he's been expected to. I mean, this is almost a $200 million quarterback.
Wow.
And he just hasn't delivered the way that the Lions should have him delivering. They've given him all the tools offensively and defensively, but there's always some hiccup. Is that he's always playing from behind, Charlton.
Yeah, you think about it, they thought getting rid of Calvin Johnson would solve some of those issues, but that didn't solve the issues. It kind of added to the issues, Big C. I want to bring you to another game. The Texans 4-11 at the Indianapolis Colts 3-12. Big C, that game is Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff on CBS Sports. Tom McCarthy, Steve Berline, and Steve Tasker have the play-by-play. Both teams have star quarterbacks that just can't stay healthy. We know Watson was injured this year, and then Andrew Luck. Will he ever play another down for the Colts, Big C? Your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, he will play in the NFL again, Charlton. Where he plays is uncertain. The loser of this game, Charlton, that head coach will be looking for, he'll be on the unemployment line. That's a sure thing after this game. Whoever loses this game will be looking for a new head coach.
Right.
And this is a game that Jacoby Brissett has made strides. Tom Savage today, it came out that they blew it on his concussion protocol.
Yeah.
But what's ironic, they didn't fine the Texans for his concussion like they fined the Seahawks for Russell Wilson's concussion.
Yeah.
So, you look at how they look at things in the NFL, and nothing is consistent. We've seen that with fines, suspensions, and everything. In the NFL, there's no consistency. It's like, well, let's look at it from this perspective. But, I don't expect Tom Savage to even be back in Houston next year, Charlton, because he's had two opportunities this year to lead that team.
Yeah.
And he blew both of them. He started the season, lasted half a series, half a quarter.
Yep.
And, when he took over again from Watson, I think they have had one victory.
Yeah.
And, he just does not look like a competent NFL quarterback. And that's what I assume when, you don't realize how good your starter is until your backup comes into a game.
Yeah. You know what? That's very well said, Big C. And sometimes you gotta miss somebody before you realize how valuable they were. And thinking of that, you look at the Buffalo Bills 8-7 on the season at the Dolphins 6-9. That game is Sunday at 4:25 kickoff on CBS Sports. Andrew Catalon and James Lofton have that play-by-play. And can Buffalo end their 17-year playoff drought? Had they not benched Tyrod Taylor in the game at San Diego when they had a winning record, Big C, the Bills will no doubt be in the playoffs this year. Your thoughts on this game?
Well, Charlton, whoever was the spearhead of benching Tyrod Taylor when, they brought in the kid and he threw 5 interceptions in 5 minutes. And, they got to go back and look at that because the Bills would be in the playoffs if not for that stupid move by management and coaching staff. That, you have a team with a winning record. And I looked across the NFL. I checked out the other 31 teams, Charlton, and I couldn't find any other quarterbacks being benched. Even Alex Smith in Kansas City when he lost 5 consecutive games.
Yeah.
Andy Reid didn't bench him, so I was trying to figure out. I think, my kids always tell me I'm not very smart. And I leave them, too, from time to time. All depending on where I fall asleep at.
Yeah.
But here it is, you bench Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
It has you in a playoff hunt.
Yeah.
And you say, well, we don't know if he's the quarterback of the future, but we got this kid, Nathan Peterman, who's rookie out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
that doesn't know which side of the field we line up on.
Yeah.
And he kept throwing the ball to the other team. He said, well, they were football players, weren't they?
Yep, that's true. It's almost like that guy that comes to your house and he falls asleep on the sofa, and every time he falls asleep, he's always spilling change out of his pocket, so the kids are always wanting to get on the sofa once he gets up. The Buffalo Bills had money in their pocket, and they exchanged it for some change, and it may just cost them a chance at the playoffs. Big C, I'll look at another game, the Panthers and the Falcons. This game has a lot of playoff importance. The Panthers 11-4, at the Falcons 9-6, down in that beautiful stadium in Atlanta. Sunday, 4:25 kickoff on Fox Sports. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Aaron Andrews with the play-by-play. Cam Newton, he's looked like, to me, he's playing back at the form that he played when he won the NFL's MVP. And I know you look at Ryan last year's MVP. Something's going to give in this game, Big C. Your thoughts on these two titanic matchups?
Well, Charlton, these are the last two representatives of the NFC in the Super Bowl, the Panthers and the Falcons. One of these teams will not be representing the NFC in the playoffs after this weekend, Charlton. Yeah. The Panthers have had all the momentum going into this game, and they're getting the Falcons at home.
Yeah.
Well, not at home, but they're getting the Falcons on the road.
Yeah.
The Falcons, though, Charlton, have to play with a sense of desperation.
Yep.
Cam Newton just has to go out and beat Cam Newton. And if Cam Newton goes out and beat Cam Newton, then Matt Ryan will take the ball away from his teammates. He'll take the ball out of Freeman and Coleman's hands and try to outdo Cam Newton, which could spell doom for the Falcons in this game, Charlton.
It's going to be a great matchup no matter who wins that game. The Bengals 6-9 at the Ravens 9-6. Sunday, 4:25 kickoff. CBS Sports, Ian Eagle, the great Dan Fouts, and Evan Washburn with the play-by-play. We know that Marvin Lewis is going to step down. Will Andy Dalton be welcomed back to the Bengals next year? You know the Ravens, they always ride with that defense, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, the head coach will always get the blame when an organization goes down, but you got to look at Andy Dalton's numbers over the last 3 years, Charlton. They've been on a continuous decline.
Yeah.
And Marvin Lewis, is always going to be the scapegoat. But, when we're looking for head coaches in the NFL, Charlton, how many of them are successful? I think that Marvin Lewis can move on and go to another organization and find instant success. He has that type of pedigree. When you look at the coaches that have come off of his staff and gone out and been head coaches in the NFL, you got Mike Zimmer in Minnesota. You got Hugh Jackson in Cleveland. You got Dirk Cutter, who's down in Tampa Bay. Yep. All these people are pedigrees of, Marvin Lewis. Yep. So Marvin Lewis will be fine. Andy Dalton is the question mark in Cincinnati.
Well, when I think about what's going on in Cincinnati, and they put a lot of blame on the coach, I'm reminded of the great late actor Jackie Gleason when the movie Smokey and the Bandit, and he told his son, he said, there's no way you could have come from Mount Lawrence. Big C, I love that Southern vernacular, the way you're good at West get down. When you're not happy, maybe that's going to be the message to Andy Dalton. There's no way you could have come out of the Lawrence up here in Cincinnati. The Jaguars, when I think about everything that they had on the line, and they came to San Francisco and they laid an egg against a team that's not really going anywhere this year, but they are 10-5. They're at the Titans 8-7. That game is Sunday, 4:25 on CBS Sports. The great Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, and Jamie Erdahl have the play-by-play. I was always impressed with Jacksonville's defense, but to give up 44 and a 44-33 loss to San Francisco, Big C, that's not a team that looks like they're going to win very far in the NFL playoffs, Big C. Your thoughts?
But this is a team, Charlton, that got away from what got them to their 10th victory, Charlton. That was running the ball.
Yeah.
They gave up on the ground control, and once you did that, you put the ball back in San Francisco's hands too frequently. You can't tell me that San Francisco's defense growed up. I know that Garoppolo's getting all the credit.
Yeah,
okay.
They're kicking field goals to win, though. It's not just him, Big Z.
But when you're stopping people, you got to give some credit to the guys on that defensive side of the ball. Maybe they realize that you got to tackle people by now. and so, because last year I think they tackled 2 people all the last season.
Yeah, I think they did.
There's not really a supporting cast here on offense.
Yeah.
So with the border with smoke and mirrors, the defense is playing better, but Jacksonville, as the coach would say, I don't want Blake Bortles to throw the ball. And he gave it up too often last week.
Yeah, that's what the coach said. He said, there's no way you could have come from my lawns. I think about that every time somebody gets benched. The great Jackie Gleason. Big C, the Saints 11-4 at the Buccaneers 4-11. That game is Sunday at 4:25. Kickoff on Fox Sports. Tom Brenneman, Chris Spielman, and Peter Shaker with the play-by-play. I know the Saints are strong with Drew Brees, and Tampa was going to be looking to rebuild for next year. Big C, your thoughts on the Saints marching in Tampa and getting the win?
Well, Charlton, this is the team that's keeping their momentum going. The Saints have had a rebound season offensively and defensively. They got a great running game, something they have not had since they last went to the Super Bowl, where they had a tandem of running backs that played consistently. This defense has really stepped up, though, for the Saints. You know, when you look at Tampa Bay, they're one of the more disappointing teams in the league.
Yeah.
I know that Jameis Winston had a hurt shoulder most of the season, but he has played well in the past couple of games since coming back. So they're looking to build momentum for next season. The Saints are looking to build momentum for the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a good point, Big C. So hopefully they'll have success in the playoffs. I really love the way Drew Brees plays. The Oakland, Las Vegas, soon-to-be Raiders. The 6-9 Raiders coming off of their first playoff berth in 14 seasons last year at the Chargers, who were in, you know, the LA Chargers doesn't seem like it's the right name. I hope they find a way to go back to San Diego. They're 8-7 on the season. That game is Sunday. A 4:25 kickoff on CBS Sports. Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon with the play-by-play. I look at the Raiders coach Jack Del Rio. You know, one season into a 4-year extension is not safe for him. And he may be told by the, you know, Mark Davis, there's no way you could have come from my lowest, Big C. Is Jack Del Rio's job on the spot? Will he be asking Ken Norton for a job, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he's on the hot seat right now. You know, to have a team to eclipse what they did last year, making the playoffs, then all of a sudden come back into Raiderism.
Yeah.
Where, you know, you're just a middle-of-the-road team.
I've never heard of that term.
They fell back into that black hole, They're trying to dig themselves back out of it. And, you know, everybody now in the NFL is starting to look offensive-minded.
Yeah.
And can Jack Del Rio, you know, hang on long enough in the offseason to try to stem the tide?
Basically, I still got a jersey I wore to one of the Raider games, the Black Hole. Some good old boy put some green lemonade on me. Big C, I said, they make green lemonade? I'm afraid to even touch that jersey, but it happened in the Black Hole, Big C, of all places. The Chiefs, 9-6, the AFC West champions, at the Denver Broncos, 5-11 Sunday at 4:25 kickoff on CBS Sports. And Beth Mowins and Jay Feely have the play-by-play. You look at Alex Smith, they wanted to get rid of him. Kareem Hunt is a really saved them in having someone they can count on running the ball out of the backfield, and also he's good downfield. Travis Kelce, you know, he's a stud of an athlete. He has that braggadocio that you see in some athletes. I really like the way he plays. They have a lot of moxie. Denver seems a shell of itself. Big C, your thoughts on this game?
Well, Charlton, if Kansas City doesn't go into win the playoffs, you may see Alex Smith in Denver next year at quarterback.
Wow.
But this is an organization, Charlton, that just packed it in. I know your friend Brock Osweiler pulled two rabbits at the head last week.
You always start those rumors, Big C. Go ahead.
You know, I don't see that consistency in Denver and Kansas City after that dismal midseason, you know, slump that they had. Seem to have gotten things back on track. Kareem Hunt has gotten healthy again, which bodes well for them in the playoffs to have a solid running game, Charlton, up there at Arrowhead.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Big C. 2 more games. The 49ers, 5-10. At the LA Rams, 11-4. That game is Sunday, a 4:25 start, and that's going to be on Fox Sports. Joe Davis, Brady Quinn, and Jenny Taft with the play-by-play. And the Rams could rest some people. You know, Todd Gurley should be the NFL's MVP. Find me someone who can rush for 1,000 yards and receive for 1,000 if you give him the chance. Someone who can take the ball on a screenplay and run 90 yards for a touchdown, pulling away from people, and you know he's going to touch the ball. That's the thing about having Gurley as the MVP. I know people want to look at some quarterbacks because they always say it's easy to find a quarterback. But quarterbacks don't get hit that much. Every time a running back touches the ball, Big C, last time I heard, they get hit by somebody unless you're Gurley running the distance. Big C, your thoughts on the 49ers at the Rams in this beautiful matchup?
Well, Charlton, if I'm the Rams, I don't want the 49ers thinking that they can beat us next year as well as even this year, okay?
Yeah.
I want to put my foot in their throat and let them know who's the top dog. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, I want to drive them down in that hole. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo's been playing with house money.
Yeah.
Nothing that he can do is wrong.
No.
Even if he throws an interception, it's not wrong. They'll find an excuse for it.
Yeah.
But Jared Goff, this is a game that Jared Goff really needs to assert himself as a top-flight NFL quarterback. When you have a lesser opponent, Charlton, you can't go out there and take them lightly. You have to go out there and dominate because you're getting ready for the playoffs.
Yep.
Territory that you've never seen, you know, in a long time. And so you want to go out there and assert your authority and run this team off the field. You don't want to go out there and take it lightly and let the 49ers stay into the game. You want to get them down and stay on top of them.
That's a good point, Big C. Final game on the West Coast. The Arizona Cardinals 7-8 versus the Seattle Seahawks 9-6 Sunday. 4:25 kickoff on Fox Sports. Chris Myers, Daryl Johnson, and Laura Oakman with the play-by-play. Seattle has a slim to none chance of getting back to the playoffs. The Cardinals are done. Just give me your thoughts on this great franchise in Seattle. They've been so stout over the years. Now they may be on the outside looking in. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, injuries can slow down anybody. If you recall, last year, at the beginning of the year, was Russell Wilson being injured, and they had no running game whatsoever. Russell Wilson came back healthy this year, but they have no running game still. That Legion of Boom has been knocked out on defense, and so their defense is playing with a lot of substitutes. And they've been vulnerable all year long, Charlton. But when you're on offense and you know there's no running threat other than the quarterback, it allows you to do some things defensively. And that's the problem that the Seahawks have witnessed all year long.
Yeah.
You hope that Russell can come out of this game healthy. If they can win this game and Carolina can win, they can sneak into the playoffs, Charlton.
Yeah, that's a good thing, sneaking into the playoffs. But so much happening in the world of sports. Big C, I love closing out 2017 on the Big C Sports Show. And I'm so grateful that we cover all the major sports. We talk about football, basketball, baseball, soccer, hockey, the world of the MMA, acting, politics. It's all good. We even pay homage to some of the high school players. Big C, I know that I'm grateful for the show. I just want to ask you what you're grateful for closing out 2017, going into a happy new year. Big C, your thoughts?
Charlton, this has been a wonderful, fantastic year, and I've enjoyed so many wonderful episodes along with you and our listeners out there this year, Charlton, and I appreciate them turning on the dial and listening to Charlton and Big C. I know we're not the best out there, we're not the most knowledgeable out there, but we are probably as good as being honest as anybody out there. We bring you sports and politics from a different perspective, and you've allowed us to resonate that throughout your speakers in your homes and your life throughout 2017, and we hope to grow even bigger and larger and bring more of you into our fold in 2018, Charlton.
Big C, we will say we are the best. We them boys. I heard some good old rappers saying we them boys. And I do love everything that we bring to the sports universe, and I truly love and appreciate the chance to learn from you every time I do the show. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Bundini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young men rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, what I'm looking forward to in the sports world and in the universe is to be able to have focus come Monday. You know, I don't know what's going to happen over the weekend and when this so-called ball drops in another night. I hope I'm not standing underneath it, but I hope to see you on Monday.
No, we will definitely be there. Have fun down there in the Sugar Bowl. You know you're good old boys, and bring your own drinks as we take you all around the world. Thanks for following Big C Sports on the #1 sports show in the United States of America, and Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and the good old boys down south. We want to tell you, there's never, ever any reason to ever put your hands on a woman. If you know any woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no woman should ever have to go through that garbage all on her own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.